Good morning, honey badgers. Today I have a rather serious topic to talk about, but I'm going to try to do it a little bit more of a lighthearted way so you can get through this video without being like, So today I want to talk about something that's really close to me, especially after what's happened the past couple of days with my new job that I got. I want to talk about how it feels to be misgendered. A lot of people think that it's, not a big deal. Like, if you're a cisgender man and you have longer hair and somebody sees you from the back and they're like, "Excuse me, miss," and you turn around, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then you just laugh, right? Like, misgendered. It's not that big of a deal. But, to people who are transgender, it is, or agender, or any variation of that, it's definitely a big deal. To put it in perspective, what somebody graciously told me on Tumblr, because I could not think of the words of like how to explain to a cisgender person exactly how it feels to be misgendered. There's different levels of it, but basically it feels like as if somebody would just slap you in the face all of a sudden, like in the middle of their conversation, like they're talking to you, and then all of a sudden they're like, whack! And then you're just like, excuse me? What the fuck just happened? And you look at them, and they just keep talking, and they don't apologize or anything, they just keep going, and then like everybody else acts like nothing ever happened, and nobody knows why you're just like, it's like it never happened, but it did, and you know it did. You just felt it across your face. It has different varying levels. Obviously, if it's a stranger who you don't know and you've never met before, they call you sir or ma'am, or like they misgender you, something like that, it's not that bad. It's like somebody like shoulder checks you out of the way, like pushes you out of the way in the mall, and you're just like, but I mean, it's nothing that they can do about it. You can't always tell somebody's gender just by looking at them. And we don't exactly have gender neutral pronouns for like sir or madame. But if it's somebody you know, somebody you've already been like, "Hey, listen, so I identify as a boy and I use male pronouns. So could you just do that?" You shouldn't ask. You shouldn't like have to be like, "Is that okay? Is it okay if you call me the right pronouns that I want you to call me?" You shouldn't have to ask that. You should just be like, "Hey, this is what's up. This is what's up. I'm a guy. I use these pronouns, so respect that." That should be all you have to say. And when people know that and they still do it, and especially if you continuously remind them, and then they like brush it off like it's no big deal, that's when it feels like it's a full-on fucking slap to the face. Like, I mean, obviously, it's a hard thing to transition to, especially if it's somebody you've known for a very long time. I completely understand that. It takes time to get used to it. Like, I had a friend who came out like vaguely around the same time I did too, and it took me a while to start calling him by his preferred name and pronouns as well. But I got there eventually, and I always was like, sorry, not she, he, sorry. And that's what it is. Like, the one who's been the most supportive of me so far has been my mother and her boyfriend Todd. They've obviously, like, I don't know how, just like right away it was okay, and like only a couple mistakes and now it's just already perfect. But of course, if they make a mistake somewhere down the road, I'll be like, whatever. Like, it happened. Like, there's been times when my mom has called me my sister's name. It just happens. It's a thing. Like, that's not the offensive thing. It's when people are like purposely ignoring your pronouns and purposely not doing it. The worst thing though is definitely when it's somebody who is very close to you in life, like a partner or your parents or family members or just like really close friends who refuse to use your pronouns, and especially when they're really bitter about it. That is the worst thing ever. That's like a full-on freaking sucker punch to the gut, and it hurts bad. People don't seem to realize that this emotional pain hurts more than physical pain to most of us. Like, for example, we bind our chests, even though it hurts sometimes and you feel like you can't breathe, you're constricted, you can even break your ribs, but people are willing to do that because the mental pain and emotional pain is just way more hard to deal with than physical pain. For a transgender woman, I guess tucking might be painful. I'm not really sure. I'm not very educated in that side, obviously, because I have no experience as that, and I still do not know. I'm not acquainted with that many people who are trans, so yeah. And the worst part is I don't even know how to correct people anymore when they use the wrong pronouns, because I'll be like, hey, this is what I go by, and then like 5 minutes later they're calling me she, or they're addressing the group of us as ladies, and I'm like, oh god, but I don't want to speak up again. Because now I feel outed, I feel embarrassed, I feel nervous, and I feel just completely invalidated. And like that's been the biggest problem with my job so far, besides the fact that I have terrible shoes, so my back hurt. But that's literally been the worst thing, is being misgendered so often, being told that I'm not allowed to use the male's washroom, which is like okay for me right now, but I hope that when I go on testosterone and I start making those physical changes, they will let me. I'm just gonna hope there. Like the only thing that they've been okay with has been my name. That's it. Nothing else. They're not making any effort. And yeah, you just don't know how to fix it. Like, how do you fix that kind of ignorance? Like, it's not necessarily their fault because there's not that much information on being transgender and stuff like that out there, but I mean, it's less about the ignorance and more about the respect. Somebody told me to freaking call them, I don't know, like, I'm a cat and can you call me like cat pronouns or something. You know what? I would do it. I would totally do it if it made them feel more comfortable. Although it would be really, when you get into pronouns like that, it's a little bit tougher, because then you have to remember, okay, this person uses those ones, and that one's that one, and that one's that one. That's just a little bit complicated. I would prefer if people would just stick to like gender neutral or binary pronouns. But I mean, if somebody feels more comfortable with other pronouns, I will use them. Because it's about the respect over anything. Respect for another human being, respect for their emotional and mental state. It's respect. And I don't understand why it's so hard for other people to respect me and to respect all of us. Well, I'm not actually angry, but I have to be kind of strict about this because this is something that means a lot to me, and it's very important for me to express how upsetting this is. But anyways, that's basically all I had to say. Don't misgender people, or try not to. Try your best. As long as you're trying, it's awesome, and we understand, and we love you, and that's great, okay? So just try to respect people's pronouns and try to be nice to each other, okay? Please? Thank you. Bye.